She smashed her mug against the wall and yelled, "Fine, you don't want me here? I'll go. Don't expect to ever see me again." That was the last thing my stepdaughter, Clara, said before she slammed the front door and disappeared into the freezing night. I haven't slept a proper hour since. Hey everyone, if you like hearing these wild family stories, please hit subscribe and drop a like for support. Oh, and let me know in the comments which city you're watching from. It's always cool to see where everyone's from. Let me give you the background, because, honestly, I don't know if I went too far or just finally snapped after years of tension. I'm 38M, Clara just turned 16 last November, and my wife, Helena, is 41. I married Helena when Clara was 10. Clara was quiet at first, almost fragile, dealing with her dad's sudden passing. I tried to give her space. I'm not her father, just the guy who married her mom. The first 2 years, it felt like we could build something like trust. But once she hit 13, it all crumbled fast. Clara and Helena started fighting at least once a week. Slamming doors, crying, accusations about everything from grades to missing headphones to, why does she get to go out when I can't? I tried to play the neutral stepdad, but over time, I became the easy target. When Helena had a big fight with her, Clara would text me angry rants like, "Hope you're happy making my mom miserable." And then the next day, act like nothing happened. I was raised to bite my tongue, so I kept letting it slide, even when she called me that guy to her friends, or made snide comments like, "Too bad you're not my real dad. He wouldn't be such a control freak." For a while, Helena used to defend me, but then she'd swing back and say, "You need to try harder for Clara. She's still grieving. It's not her fault." Maybe I am too stiff. My dad left when I was 6, so I always promised myself I'd never walk out on family. Clara's grades fell in her first year of high school. That meant more fights. I offered to help, said maybe we could try tutoring together, buy her a new laptop, whatever. But she just shrugged and said, "What's the point? No one cares what I do anyway." At this point, our evenings mostly involved tense silence, or the sound of TikToks leaking out from Clara's room. The final stretch began about 4 months ago. Clara started coming home later and later, sometimes past 2 a.m. I tried rules, tried gentle conversations, then, okay, I got stricter. "You have a midnight curfew, end of discussion." She smirked and said, "What are you going to do, kick me out?" I told her, "Try me." The next night she came back at 3:15 a.m., sneakers caked in mud, reeking of weed. Helena was working an overnight shift at the hospital, so I was alone. I lost my temper, I'll admit it. I said, "You can't live here if you don't follow some basic rules. One more time, and you find somewhere else to stay." A week later, she texted at 1:45 a.m. "Staying at Gabriella's, don't wait up." I waited anyway, but she didn't come back. Her things were gone when I checked her room. The next day, Helena got the call from the school. Clara hadn't shown up. Now she was ignoring all our calls. When she finally came home that night, she acted like she'd done nothing wrong. We argued for hours. She screamed, "You can't control me. I hate living here. At least Dad would love me even if I messed up." I lost it and yelled back, "If you can't respect the people putting a roof over your head, then get out until you can." She left, slamming the door so hard, a picture frame shattered. Helena sobbed for an hour. She said it was my fault for escalating. I said, "She's 16, not a little kid. She knows what's right." The next morning, Clara still hadn't come back. That's when her friend Gabriella's mother called Helena. Clara had crashed on their couch but had too much attitude, so they couldn't keep her more than a night. I tried calling her uncle, my wife's brother. He said, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." He's always been a piece of work. By day 3, word had spread. My mother-in-law called, furious. "How dare you throw out a child?" I tried to explain, but she hung up. Helena was barely speaking to me. My co-workers started whispering after I had to take a day off. I know, because one of them texted, "Heard you kicked your stepdaughter to the curb." Seriously, man. Then, the plot twist. On the fourth night, I got a call from a number I didn't know. Clara's voice, sounding older and tired. "Don't worry, I'm fine. I'm staying with Leandro. I don't want to come back. Maybe someday, but not now. Tell Mom to stop worrying." I asked where she was, but she just hung up. Now it's been almost a week. She's not at school. Her phone is mostly off. Helena has barely eaten. Every time the doorbell rings, I jump. Meanwhile, half our family is calling me a monster, and the other half says she was old enough to know better. The police told us there's not much they can do since Clara keeps saying she's safe and doesn't want to come home. Honestly, did I go too far? Was kicking her out the only way for her to understand consequences? Or did I just destroy whatever family we had left? Things honestly got so much worse after that first week. I thought maybe Clara would calm down and reach out. Or maybe she'd just cool off at Leandro's place and eventually come back, tail between her legs. No chance. Instead, it felt like the whole world started picking sides, and suddenly our family's dirty laundry was everywhere. Helena's mood swung from silent devastation to white-hot anger directed solely at me. 3 nights after Clara left, Helena started sleeping in the guest room. She'd say things like, "You didn't just throw Clara out, you tore this family apart with your pride." Then 5 minutes later she'd mutter, "But maybe this is the only way she'll finally learn." Most days she'd barely acknowledge me, but late at night I'd sometimes catch her crying in the kitchen. Meanwhile, my phone blew up with texts from relatives, friends, even acquaintances. My brother, who never really liked Helena. "Man, you did what you had to do." People forget these teens run roughshod over parents nowadays. Helena's aunt, Rosa. "I can't believe you would do this to someone so young. How could you? Does family mean nothing anymore?" Gabriella's mom texted Helena saying, "We tried to help, but Clara was disrespectful even here. She needs help, but I can't risk my other kids' well-being." My own mom called and just sighed. "You know this will haunt you, right? No matter what happens." Leandro, the cousin, started posting vague stories on Instagram. Stuff like, "Some people don't protect their own," or "Family isn't always blood." Family group chats exploded with arguments. Helena's mother sent a wall of text. "No hello, just, if anything happens to Clara, you'll never forgive yourself. You've lost all my respect." I tried messaging Clara myself. She never answered. When I called, straight to voicemail. Sometimes it didn't even ring, like she'd blocked me. A few friends from school texted Helena saying Clara was couch surfing and doing fine. But that didn't reassure anyone. Several kids, I use the word loosely, they're all about 16, 18, messaged Helena on Instagram things like, "Leave her alone, she's not a child," or "You don't even know what she goes through at home." Scrolling through comments made me feel like the world officially decided I'm the monster. My co-workers acted awkward the whole week, and I caught 2 of them whispering when they thought I was in the break room. HR pulled me aside to check if domestic unrest might affect my work. I nearly quit on the spot, but forced myself to just repeat, "Everything's under control." Helena asked if I would apologize to Clara no matter what, if she came back. I didn't answer. I honestly didn't know. When I suggested therapy or family counseling, Helena scoffed. "She won't even come to dinner. You think she wants to sit in a circle and talk about her feelings with you?" One night, Helena told me, "If she doesn't come home soon, I want a separation. I can't live with what you've done." At this point, every decision felt like a trap. If I reached out too much, I'd look desperate or controlling. If I did nothing, everyone assumed I just didn't care. My brother offered to call Clara, try to knock some sense into her, but Helena forbade it. Your family isn't her family. Even our dog seemed anxious now. He sits by Clara's old bedroom door half the day. Then the real gut punch came. Clara posted a selfie on social media. Slogan on her shirt said, "Home is where I am not." Caption: Freedom tastes better than pity. Dozens of likes, lots of supportive comments from her friends. Underneath, Helena posted, "We just want you safe. Please come back." Clara deleted her comment an hour later and blocked both of us on every account. Now, just as I thought maybe things had hit rock bottom, Helena's uncle, who's some big-shot lawyer, messaged both of us. He threatened to report us to child services for parental neglect. He wrote some legal jargon, basically accusing me of endangerment and abandonment of minor. Copied the message to Helena and her aunt and said, "I hope you know exactly what you've done." Since then, we've both been terrified to answer the door, afraid we're going to get reported or worse. Despite all that, I had moments of doubt. Like, am I just stubborn? Am I trying to prove I'm the man of the house to a teenager who honestly might be screaming for help in her own way? But then, when I found an empty liquor bottle in her room, well after she left, I started thinking maybe we'd have lost her either way. Nothing I did seemed right. The practical fallout is worse than I imagined. Helena missed 2 shifts at the hospital, first time in 12 years. She's barely functional. Our grocery budget went up because comfort food and takeout became the norm. I sleep on the couch now. Family chat is still a war zone. Clara's school counselor called twice to ask about home conditions and her whereabouts. Neighbors started avoiding eye contact. I had to cancel game night because no one wanted the drama at their place. There were moments I almost caved and just went to look for Clara myself. But Helena said, "You made the ultimatum. Now you have to live with it." Sometimes I stared at her empty bedroom and thought, what if something really happens? But every time, reaching out led to more silence or anger from everyone. Update. As of last night, a friend messaged Helena saying Clara spent 2 nights sleeping at a cheap hostel and might be running low on cash. I started to panic. Should I go look for her? Call the police again? But Helena yelled, "If you contact her, it'll just make her run further. She'll come back if she wants to." There's no clear answer. I honestly don't know what's right anymore. Everything came to a head last Thursday. I was at work when Helena called. I could barely understand her through the sobbing. "She's in the hospital," she choked out. "Clara's in the emergency room." My heart stopped. I left immediately. Didn't even tell my boss, just grabbed my keys and ran. When I got to the hospital, Helena was pacing the waiting area, mascara streaked down her face. She wouldn't look at me. A doctor came out and explained. Clara had collapsed at a bus stop. Someone called an ambulance. She was severely dehydrated, malnourished, and had early signs of hypothermia. It's been freezing at night. They found traces of alcohol in her system and suspect she hadn't eaten properly in days. The doctor asked, point blank, "Where are her parents? How did a 16-year-old end up in this condition?" Helena turned to me and said, "This is on you. You did this." I couldn't even respond. The words wouldn't come. All I could think was, she could have died. When they finally let us see her, Clara was hooked up to an IV, staring at the ceiling. She looked so small in that hospital bed, like the scared 10-year-old I first met. Helena rushed to her side, sobbing, "Baby, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." Clara didn't even turn her head. She just whispered, "I told you I was fine." Then her eyes landed on me and she said flatly, "Why are you here?" I tried to say something, anything, but my throat closed up. The nurse told us Clara had admitted she'd been sleeping in parks, bus shelters, occasionally crashing with strangers she met online. She'd been trying to make it on her own, but had run out of money and options. Leandro, it turned out, had kicked her out after 3 days because she borrowed money from his wallet without asking. Helena's uncle, the lawyer, showed up an hour later. He didn't even acknowledge me, just walked straight to Helena and Clara. I overheard him say, "We're filing a report. This is neglect, pure and simple." A social worker arrived shortly after. She interviewed Clara privately, then spoke with both of us. She said Clara would be discharged tomorrow, but that Child Protective Services would be opening an investigation into our home. The social worker looked directly at me and said, "Kicking a minor out of the house is illegal. You're fortunate she's alive." Helena and I barely spoke on the drive home. When we got back, she finally broke the silence. "I want you out. Not forever, maybe, but for now. I need space to fix what you broke." I didn't argue. I packed a bag and went to stay at my brother's place. Clara came home the next day, but I wasn't there. Helena sent me a single text. "She's here. She doesn't want to see you." Over the next week, I got updates through Helena's short, cold messages. Day 1. She's sleeping a lot. Won't eat much. Day 3. Started therapy. Therapist says she has trust issues. Surprise. Day 5. She asked if you're coming back. I said I don't know. My mother-in-law sent me an email, a full page of rage and disappointment. The subject line, "You are no longer family." She listed every way I'd failed Clara, failed Helena, failed as a man. She ended with, "Don't bother showing up to any family events. You're not welcome." My co-workers found out what happened. Small town, word travels. 2 of them stopped talking to me entirely. One actually said, "Man, I don't know if I can respect you after this." My boss called me in for a chat. Basically warned me that my personal issues were affecting team morale. But here's where it gets complicated. Last night, Helena called. She said Clara had asked to talk to me, not in person, but through Helena on speakerphone. I agreed. Clara's voice sounded tired, older. "I just want you to know, I don't forgive you. But the therapist says I need to say what I'm feeling, so here it is. You were supposed to be the adult. You were supposed to keep me safe, even when I was being awful. And you just gave up on me. You chose your pride over my life." I tried to respond, to explain that I thought I was teaching her responsibility, that I never meant for any of this to happen. But she cut me off. "I don't care what you meant. I care what you did, and what you did almost killed me." Helena added, "She's right. You can make all the excuses you want, but at the end of the day, you threw a child out into the cold. Our therapist says maybe, eventually, we can rebuild. But not now. Not for a long time. So here's where I'm at. Clara's physically safe, but emotionally destroyed. Helena's devastated and blames me entirely. Half my family has disowned me. I'm living at my brother's, sleeping on a futon, and I can't even look at myself in the mirror most days. But here's the thing, and maybe this makes me a monster. I still think she needed consequences. Not these consequences, obviously. Not nearly dying. But something. She was destroying herself and our family long before I said those words. Was I supposed to just let her come and go at all hours, ignore every rule, disrespect everyone, and pretend it was fine? Where's the line between being supportive and being a doormat? People keep telling me, she's just a kid. But when does a kid become old enough to face reality? When does "she's grieving" stop being an excuse for everything? I know I failed her, God. I know that. Now. But I genuinely don't know what I should have done differently. Lock her in her room? Just accept the chaos? I was drowning too, and nobody saw that. The investigation is still ongoing. The social worker says Clara's cooperation will determine whether charges are filed against me. Helena says if I'm charged, she'll divorce me. Clara's back in school but barely speaking to anyone. I haven't been home in 2 weeks. So that's it. That's the whole ugly story. I'm the man who kicked out his stepdaughter and almost got her killed. I'm the villain in everyone's story, including my own. If you made it this far, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And honestly, I need to know. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much of a monster am I? And what would you have done in my position? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll read every single one. Because right now, I'm desperate to understand if there was ever a right answer here.